Welcome to part 2 of the transmission upgrade. Today I'm going to install the B&M whole shot torque converter and mount the transmission to the engine block. First I need to unpack the motor from the shipping crate and then position the motor to make it easier to mount the transmission. The engine is a small block Chevy 383 stroker. It uses a 350 engine block and a 400 crankshaft. The flex plate that ships with the motor is a 153 tooth flex plate. It's fabricated and balanced specifically for this motor. I bought this AC Delco engine hoist from O'Reilly's, and it does a really good job. It breaks down pretty well too, and takes up only about 3 foot by 3 foot once it's broke down and put away. In the last episode I installed the pump seal, but I'll walk through that procedure again because it's really part of the torque converter installation. I had to modify the wood stand so I can install the flex plate and mount the transmission to the back of the engine block. I used a skill saw to chop out a section so that the crankshaft is accessible and I can bolt the flex plate up without getting caught up on that stand. The pump seal sits at the base of the 2 splines inside the bell housing, and I just use a seal puller to pry out the old seal. And then I just tap the new seal in using a 2x4 and working my way around the seal carefully. When I install the new torque converter, I need to be sure to make it past both sets of those splines or the transmission will not fit up against the engine block. This can do a lot of damage, so you need to be sure that that torque converter goes in all the way. Before I install the converter into the transmission, I'll add about a half a quart or so of transmission fluid so the torque converter isn't bone dry the first time I start the car. To help make it easier to mount the transmission against the engine block, I'm installing 2 studs into the top 2 bolt holes in the back of the engine block, and I'll use that as guides to put the bell housing into place. Okay, that wasn't too bad. I definitely needed another set of hands, but I wound up setting it on a jack, a piece of cardboard under so I don't scrape up that new pan. And then used those studs as guideposts and slid it on there. It was real quick and got the other bolt started. Really definitely made it easier. You can see under here that I've got plenty of room to get under there and bolt that torque converter to the flywheel. Using a good torque wrench, that from Sears Craftsman, torque those transmission mount bolts down to between 30 and 35 foot-pounds. So as I put each bolt on, then I have to turn the crank to turn that flywheel so I can get to the next bolt. What I've done is just put a ratchet on the front, the crank, and I can just turn this and bring the next bolt around so I can tighten it up in the back. As always, be sure to use a good torque wrench to tighten everything down to the proper specifications. Next time, I'm going to replace the power steering pump and the power steering hoses and upgrade the steering box to improve overall handling.